Yo.
Who's your favorite chess player?
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Magnus.
Ja nie pomnisz się.
Magnus Carlsen?
Magnus Carlsen.
Nakamura. Probably Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus.
And what about you?
Ik denk niet Ren.
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen? Magnus?
I don't have a favorite chess player. I'm my favorite chess player.
Good morning everyone and welcome at the final day of the FIDE World Youth Under-16 Chess Olympiad here from the high-tech campus in Eindhoven. My name is Stefan Kuipers and once again I'll be commentating your games and also not alone because with me Anna-Maja Kazarian. Welcome.
Thank you, Stefan.
Final day.
Final day. It's been a wild ride. 8 rounds of rapid 45 minutes plus 10-second increment every single round. There were so many exciting games this whole tournament and today is the final round and today we'll know who will be the winners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a theoretical chance China will be overtaken, but also they win most of their matches, so they're the big favorite and they just need a draw to make sure they win the event outright without needing a tiebreak. Turkey is the only one threatening China, and while you can see the rest of the teams that are still fighting for the podium, I think all the way up to Kazakhstan have a theoretical chance at least to reach the podium. So that might be the most exciting about today, because I think we're pretty sure China's going to win this event. But also we have some board medals, which we haven't really focused on yet. But they're also here. We have a nice list. Of course, we see a lot of Chinese players because well, they scored just a lot of points. But surprisingly, we haven't really noticed, but board 1 leading is Samadov from Azerbaijan and also Makridis from Greece. 7 out of 8. That is
very impressive.
Extremely
scores.
impressive, yeah, and they're doing very well. So I'm curious to see who will get the gold medal on board 1. And board 2, 3 and 4 we see Chinese players in the lead, but still competition there also because Arthur de Winter is doing well on board 2, the Dutch player. And also board 3, they're tied 6.5 out of 8. And board 4, it's not decided yet because Liu has 8 out of 8. But
it's actually crazy. Anything can still happen there.
Yeah, Anna-Maja, she's just half a point behind, so she still has to fight for the golden medal there on board 4. But yeah, that's a sort of a little side competition maybe, but I think for the play is very important. So this is going to be the matches for today. We have Austria playing China. Austria is a big surprise after beating the Netherlands yesterday. So they're playing board 1 today, which is very nice for them. Turkey's playing Kazakhstan 2, which is impressive by Kazakhstan 2.
Very.
Kazakhstan 1 playing Armenia, Azerbaijan playing Greece, Georgia the Netherlands, and so on, and so on, and so on. Having said all that, I think we also have a look at the board pairings for completeness sake. Yes, we are. There we go. The familiar names, as usual.
We've seen those teams quite a bit already. They've been hanging around in the top boards this tournament. But let's see if Austria can take down China in the final round, as China has been undefeated this whole tournament. They've only drawn 1 match, which was already very impressive. So yeah, let's see if Austria can make it very difficult for China.
Yeah, let's see indeed. And before the round starts, we do have a few tactics, but also we, as mentioned before, maybe some people still remember, we talked about Australia. They traveled for 40 hours to get here, and there's many more other countries that also, many other countries also had a long trip all the way to the Netherlands, which is amazing. But actually, as we mentioned, Australia also has, well, not Australia, but one of the players, Yifei Hu, is playing board number 3, only 10 years old, and he actually has his own camera crew, which sounds very nice.
Ooh.
But now they're here to shoot a documentary about him, and that is pretty awesome. So they've been filming the entire event as well, and he is just 10 years old.
Hey, he's a huge talent. He has crossed 2,000 in classical rating, which is very impressive. And in this tournament, he is playing an international tournament. Usually Australians do not play much outside of the country, so it's really awesome to see him play in such a big event, and he's gaining a lot of experience with this.
Yeah, that's the best thing. It's especially when you live that far away, it's not so easy to play that many tournaments. I mean, in Europe we're spoiled. There's so many chess tournaments, but in Australia it's harder. And it's nice that these players get to play such a big international event, and that only makes them stronger and better. And it's besides that, it's a lovely experience. I mean, when I was 10, I wasn't really going places, especially not rated 2000. It's pretty impressive. So it's this is Australia, but there's just many other teams that have similar stories to tell, and that's what makes such a tournament, such an event, so beautiful.
Absolutely.
I mean, we only focus on the top boards, but there's so many other players and talents also sitting on the lower boards.
And who knows who will shine in the future, as the players are very young and there's still so much room for improvement. So we're really excited to see them grow. And today Australia will be playing against England, so let's see who will be winning this final match.
Yeah, and just winning the final match can just get you really higher up the rankings for
it
the
helps
final
a lot.
semis. Yeah, it's very important to win your final match. So let's hope they do well, and we wish them all the best, of course. And we hope to see them in the future as the big stars and grandmasters.
For sure.
Who knows? We'll see. All right, we have a few more minutes before the round will start. 3 minutes to go, and players have seeded. I think most of them have seeded. And I think we have a few tactics we can look at from yesterday.
Yeah, we have some time still.
And here we go. So it's 3 interesting positions, and just for the people to get warmed up a little bit, get the brain juices flowing as usual. It's black to move, and well, just talking a bit to let the people at home try and find a solution. Have you found it already? Did you?
Yeah, I believe it's rook takes g2.
Yes, that should be it.
Pawn a6 is a bit scary, but this should be forcing enough.
Yeah, there's a diagonal, so it's tricky, and if the rook takes on g2, you will play
Queen b1.
Yeah. Just making sure you're awake as well.
It's good to stay sharp.
Yep, and after rook
and
to
bishop takes e4.
Yes, very nice combination there. And the next one we saw yesterday, that was beautiful and painful at the same time. Black to move, and the endgame should have been a draw.
Endgame yesterday, and it was heartbreaking. The final game that was still ongoing, it was supposed to be a draw for a very long time, but black kept going on, and rightly so, because in this position, black played move knight h3 check. Yeah,
moving the knight back from f2 to h3, the king has to go. Well, you can't go to g2. That is what makes this position a bit annoying for white, because you put the bishop on h5. Now there's knight f4, winning the game quite easily. So you have to go to h1 if you don't want to lose your bishop. But then the move king to f1 is very disturbing.
That hurts.
Yeah, and the knight just goes back to f2, delivers checkmate, and there's nothing you can do. A very painful end of the game there. And the final one, that one is more difficult, but it's I guess you can do this one on intuition. You have a feeling for what moves to play, and if you know there's this opportunity, then the moves are easier to find. And it has a nice flow. It's a nice example of just creating an entrance and then bringing more pieces. So white goes rook to h7 check, king to f8. So these tactics are all from the games played yesterday. So just to make that extra clear, you take the bishop, king takes. You give check on h7.
King has to go to f8. There's also rook g7 actually.
Yeah, rook g7, queen h5 check, and you go to e8, and we see handshakes in the meantime, and there's knight e6, and the threat of knight f8 is devastating.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's a nice attack with a nice flow. Just bring the pieces, and with these pieces being offside, there's always a good chance that your tactics will work.
And the knight is super powerful. And here we have the camera overview of 16 boards where the players are about to start the game.
Yeah, won't take any long. We just heard the arbiter yell, which is it's a very common thing apparently. And I guess all players are present at the playing hall at the moment.
Got a little nerve-wracking for a second, as some of the players did not arrive just yet, but it seems like they arrived. They're already adjusting pieces, removing some dust off the board.
Yep.
And there we go. Handshakes are on the cameras and the games have started.
Awesome. I'm just curious, is there any chance we might get a view of Australia? Is that?
We'll have a look.
You think that's possible? We can try and find them? Okay. So we see the top boards playing, of course, but games have started. China just needs a draw to clinch the unshared tournament victory, which is something I think they'll achieve. I mean, Austria is doing well, but I mean, China is too strong, so that's going to be difficult.
For sure.
And we have moves, games and moves. So top boards. So we're gonna focus on China, of course, because they're about to clinch the tournament victory. But the battle for the podium is very exciting, and also the board prizes are still exciting. So we have to look around a bit more to try and follow everything and everyone that is still competing for a medal. So
Yeah.
board one, we have Laurens Bormann. He's playing a Wen Shui, and that's once again I think we've only seen D4 openings on board one.
A lot of the games start with D4, and it goes to show that usually you expect the younger players to play E4 on the first move, to have an open attacking game. D4 is a bit more of a solid approach, so it's really interesting to see that the players are mostly playing D4 on the first move.
Yep. But I think on the let's see. And there's some interesting openings though. We have let's just go past the boards, because board two, let's also introduce the players, because the Austrian players we haven't really seen that often. We see Xiao Tong playing Peter Balint, and that is a Rue Lopez, so that's quite familiar territory for most players. And the third board we see Robert Ernst playing Xianghui Kong, and that is going to be very exciting, because here we have the famous we have the chance of entering this Botvinnik opening, right?
Oh.
No, I'm always mixing up the Botvinnik and the anti-Moscow line. Yeah,
G5.
and you have G5 here. And you get these kind of positions, knight d7, EF6, and it becomes crazy because white is up a pawn, right? Yeah. And also has a lot of space on the king side. This pass h pawn might be threatening, and black seems very cramped and passive, but the positions are very, very complicated. It's very concrete. There's long theoretical lines. There's also room for surprise, and the positions just get very, very messy. It's real computer chess almost.
Yeah, looks like it.
So this can be very exciting, but I just noticed that black played the move bishop e7 here. So I'm not going for any of these weird things. Normally, if you play bishop e7, you play it here. So I'm not sure about the inclusion of dc4 and e4, but I guess we'll find out once the game progresses. And then board 4, we have Lou, our 100% star, playing Emilia Deaxala, and that is a Sicilian?
Looks like it's some accelerated dragon. But bishop c4 first.
That's new to me. Bishop g7.
It seems pretty unusual to play this against g6 Sicilian.
Yeah, that looks strange. The downside about bishops, I mean, against e5 you play bishop c4, but the thing against the Sicilian is that black can always play e6 and then d5 comes with tempo attacking the bishop, and the bishop has to move again. It feels a bit awkward, the bishop on c4 in a Sicilian so early on. So knight c6, c3, e6, there we go. d4 takes on d4, and then knight takes. Normally you will take with the pawn and develop your pieces in a very active way, but here knight takes d4 was played. Knight to e7, and this is it. I'm not so sure about this setup. c3 pawn doesn't look ideal. I mean, you can bring the bishop, but where do you put the knight?
Yeah, that's a tough one. The pieces feel very misplaced in this opening for white, so I'm curious what Lou has in mind here. It is interesting to know that she has been spending a little bit of time already, so perhaps she is surprised. We've seen her play very quickly from the very beginning. She hit yesterday 47 minutes Well, the starting time is 45 minutes, so that was already really impressive. But now she's spending some time, so perhaps she is in unfamiliar territory or she did not expect this at all.
Yeah. Yeah, let's give her a break. She can think a bit in the opening. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been spoiled with her good preparation
We've
and
been very
fast opening
spoiled.
play. So can't be too strict on them. So let's check match 2.
Let's see.
Because that's where we see familiar Kazakhstan, but this time the second team playing against Turkey.
Playing on the second board is really impressive.
And we've seen the players from Kazakhstan too, but let's just once again go through the boards so we can introduce them a little bit. And also, yeah, the board prizes overview, we can only show it on stream. We also can't see it ourselves, but maybe we can find a way to put it on some screen somewhere to know which player to keep an eye on as well. Because now it gets complicated with all the players that are still fighting for the medals on the board prizes. Let's memorize these names, shall we? Yeah, print screen in my head, and then just yeah, especially board 1. We need to check Azerbaijan and Greece. We need to find their games. At least keep an eye on them.
Yes.
So we'll do that. Okay, so match 2, as mentioned. Let's have a look at the players. And did I found the games? Yes, I think so. Here we see, well, this is a familiar site, Edith Gurel, who is thinking in a very characteristic fashion because he does this the entire event. And he's playing against Ergali Suleiman, and they have a Rossolimo. E4, C5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, g6, castle, bishop g7. He takes on c6. You always have a pleasant option as well. You can take on c6, but you can also move the bishop, I don't know, back to f1, or sometimes it goes to a4, c2. So you can really choose between two very different kind of positions. So bishop takes c6, dc6, d3, castles, h3, and rook e8. So white is trying to make use of this weakened pawn structure, but black doesn't really mind too much because the bishops are fine. Okay, this is a very standard position. It can still go either way. White has some more space, but black also not unhappy. And here we can see the black player, which we haven't seen that often this event. So that's board 1 there.
Yeah, this e5 move looks maybe a bit too early. It feels like it's weakening the pawn a lot. d5 becomes available for the knight, and it feels like white should start developing first before committing to moves such as e5.
Yeah, I think it's quite common to, but I'm not sure why exactly you play, but I think it's because you want to prevent e5.
That makes a lot of sense.
And when the knight can try to jump all the way to d4, which is a very common idea. So I think that's the reason why you want to play e5. You do weaken a few squares because you give away d5 and f5, but you can, it's not strange to go for the g4, c4, those kind of moves to push black back again. But yeah, you want to play knight e2. Knight e4, knight c4, depends a little bit. Knight d2 played, and the bishop has to wait before being developed. But white normally tries to gain a lot of space by pawn moves. And yeah, we'll see how this one develops.
All right.
Let's check the second board where we are looking at Nurgaliev now. Sawat Nurgaliev playing white against Yagiskan Erdogmuz, and he is, well, we talked about him quite often, 12 years old, maybe still 11, 2500 rated, very, very strong talent from Turkey. And here we have a Sicilian.
It feels like a sort of Sveshnikov structure, but
But it is a knight dwarf.
it is neither. Wow.
Yeah, we're white.
Oh,
Bishop
D3.
Okay, one of those sidelines. Knight E2 and white castle king side. Knight G3. All these sidelines have this very specific idea. Takes on B5. Now I guess you can't take with the knight because there's... Well, you could take on H7, but I think bishop E4 is the idea. Maybe going for B7. Or no, maybe just take on H7. Well, either way, black didn't take the pawn. Played G6, C4, knight B7 and king H1. Interesting setup for white because it's not that familiar, but he has a nice plan. He can just push F4 on the next move, I think. And then he can either try to take or maybe push to F5. You have some possibilities there. And black's position looks healthy, but white has a plan. And he can just play what he knows. Already has a nice advantage on the clock. So Mr. Nurgaliev is probably quite happy with how the opening developed here.
Yeah. I think black can try to push F5 in the near future. There are definitely some ideas here for black, but black needs to figure out how to execute those plans exactly, what are his next moves, and how to deal with the pair of bishops of his opponent.
Yep. Yeah, you also have ideas like not only F5, but there's also B5, where after takes, bishop takes, and knight B6, you can try to exchange your A and B pawn for the central pawn. You're giving white these two connected pass pawns, but sometimes your central pawns are stronger, and so you have a few options here. I don't expect B5 by the way, but who knows. Right, let's head to board number 3, where we will see there we go, Mr. Kilic is playing white against Bek Sultan Moldagali, and that is him. And we have like a reversed kind of Benoni. Which is always an interesting opening, I think. The Benoni is not known as the strongest opening for black.
Doesn't have very good reputation.
No, but it's always you always get exciting positions and always unbalanced, and play will continue for a very long time.
It's very good for tactical players.
Yeah, and if you're white, you have this extra tempo, so it's actually quite okay. And then you still have the exciting positions with a lot of tension. So I always like it when white players play this opening because you get a very, very close fight in a Benoni type structure. And let's also check board number 4, just to get all games going here. And there, I think we're looking at Ayolim Kaldarova. Yes, that sounds about right. And playing against Elifnaz Akat, and he was making the Kazakh player doesn't look like she's fully woken up yet, but maybe she's just taking it easy and saving some energy.
Yeah, it's a very early round.
Well, at some point the tournament is getting pretty exhausting. It's just rapid rounds, 45 minutes plus 10 seconds, but sometimes the time trouble phase can take quite long, and also in between the rounds you have some time to kill, and those moments may even be more exhausting for players. So yeah, I can imagine at some point energy is running low, and they have a very symmetrical position from the English opening, it seems. And this game is rather closed, so I think we'll see plenty of play later on in the round.
Yeah.
Having said all that, shall we have a look at the 2 players leading the board medal classification on board 1, which was Samedov and Makridis, because getting a golden medal on board 1 at the Olympiad, that's a big achievement, so we have to look at their games.
Yeah, let's take a look. It's a very big fight on on the boards and medals.
They're playing each other.
They're playing each other. It's incredible. So the winner of this game will also win the gold medal on board 1. So that makes it even more special.
I'm not sure which board they're playing.
Board 4.
Ah, they're playing board 4.
So that's also pretty close to the top boards.
Yeah, so here they are.
They've played many moves already.
And it's opening. Okay.
You know all about it.
Okay, d4, knight of 6, c4. No, I don't know all about it, but it looks exciting. Catalan once again, dc4, bishop g2, c6, a4, bishop e4 check. Yeah, we talked about this in the previous rounds. When do you take on d2? When do you decide to go back? When do you leave the bishop on b4? I have no clue how that works. So, and also queen takes. You would expect knight takes and then you take on c4, but I guess queen takes. Now you can go knight c3 instead, or maybe knight a3 still has the same idea. These little nuances, they're too difficult for me. b5 played. A b5, c b5.
It looks so dangerous with the bishop on g2, looking right at the rook on a8.
Queen g5. Okay, that's a move you can easily miss. You're only looking at like knight e5,
Yeah.
and maybe knight c3, knight a3, but then suddenly queen g5 comes, and it's a double attack on g7 and b5, and that's rather uncomfortable, because losing the b5 pawn will result in a broken pawn structure there, and a5 and c4 seem rather weak, especially with still this diagonal out there, and knight e5 is a logical move to bring this extra piece with tempo, and threatening to maybe also win material, because you can't really move that rook from a8 because the knight is hanging. So you have to be careful as black here. Black played bishop a6. Might still be theory, by the way, but I have no idea. So
Yeah. Yeah, this looks pretty crazy, and the players have played this relatively quickly for such a sharp line. So I'm expecting that the players know quite a bit about this line. Yeah.
yeah, so material-wise, it is equal. Yes.
Yeah.
And you can take the pawn on a5. Is there a reason why you shouldn't?
Yeah, that's the question, because it's very appealing to capture this pawn, but it feels like there must be something wrong there because of the lack of development of white. There must be something in the air.
Okay, let's get a bit funky here. What about bishop b7? I'm trying to find a refutation. So, yeah, he plays bishop b7, nice. Queen d8 and rook takes a1. Yeah, it's on the board actually.
Wow.
And queen takes f8. King takes f8. Black player just doesn't care, just making the moves.
Short castle has been played.
A short castle. Okay,
Wow.
so we do need to, or we don't need to, but I want to know what happens if you make a queen move other than queen takes f8. So let's say you go to b6.
Seems like you take the knight on b1, and there's a lot of activity here for black. Maybe you get to play c3.
Mm-hmm. Right, because if you go here, there's always bishop e4 ideas. And you have to take anyway, so I guess you want to take on c3, and then there might be rook c8. But
And this king does not feel safe at all. The white pieces are not really helpful.
But I'm still not entirely sure if this is bad for white. I don't really see, I mean, it's just a rook and a piece, but white also has a very active queen, and I guess c4 is quite weak actually, so you can pick up that pawn and you have a passed b pawn if you manage to do so.
Yeah, there's a lot of tactical opportunities here, so this seems to be the reason why white captured the rook on f8.
c3, king takes knight d5, of course. Right. Okay, that's the line, because now you can't prevent it from happening. If you go king, only king d3 might be the only way to stop this.
Even king e3 is an issue.
King c4.
Now rook c8.
Now rook c8. Right. King has to go to the b file, and then there's rook takes b2, also winning the queen. Right. So that's probably forcing queen win. Pretty cool stuff. So white took an f8 and castles. And this is the current, no wait, bishop, rook a2 was played,
Rook
and
a2,
knight
knight bd2, yeah.
d2.
So both pawns on b2 and c4 are hanging, and if black decides to defend the pawn on c4, white can simply play for rook b1.
Yeah. Yeah, bishop h6, rook b1, or you can go rook c1.
That works too.
Still try to attack that pawn, or maybe knight e5. Okay, it feels around equal, but I'm not sure why. I guess black will win back the pawn somehow. Okay, exciting opening, and I'm not sure what happens if they tie. There might be some tie break, but we should figure that out, how that works exactly. And I guess, so what is happening in the other matches? Is there something we should see right away?
Yeah, let's see. So a lot of the games seem pretty balanced so far. Let's see if there's a game that sticks out at the moment.
Yeah, Lou's game is quite calm, but there might be an attack coming. There's two games on the first match where there might be a quick f5. Let's just let's see what's happening there. So first of all, board number 3 in this match is this one. Was with dc4 and bishop e7, which was rather unfamiliar to me. It continued bishop c4, knight takes e4. Bishop e7, knight takes c3. These combinations are always a bit confusing, but often possible. White is down a pawn, but it clearly has more space. Goes knight e5, knight e7, and f4.
Nice and aggressive.
c5 and queen to f3. Yeah, white has to go, or at least is going all in on the attack here.
Yeah, this bishop on c8 is not going anywhere just yet. Black needs to spend quite some time to try to develop this bishop. So in the meantime, white has some moves to launch an attack. There's also not a lot of pieces around the black king, so this is an opportunity to prepare an attack.
So how do you attack? Let's say I'll take on d4.
Yeah, I guess we'll take back.
And
it's actually on the board.
That's what happened. Okay, and I'll play. Nah. I want to develop somehow without too much trouble. I thought I'll go rook b8 and b5, but then there's this knight c6 that's annoying me. How do I develop my pieces here?
Maybe you have to make some moves such as knight b6, bishop d7. Somehow sacrifice the b pawn, because it's for the pawn on d4, which is pretty weak anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, knight b6 or knight f6 feels like the right next move. Maybe even knight takes e5. But then I'm scared of losing control of this diagonal. where you can go bishop d3, queen e4, and I have to make some very uncomfortable move like g6 to keep my king safe, but then if I go g6, the f6 square is weakened massively. So I don't really like it for that reason. So I like knight f6 to at least have a defender on that side, and then maybe just rook d8 and try to get my bishop to e8, and then I'll be quite happy. But can white punish that?
Yeah, it's hard to say because white does not have a clear attack going on just yet. What do you think of the pawn push g4, g5?
Might be your best try.
It feels risky, but I like it.
I mean, white committed to this, so you have to continue with it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a good answer to this one just yet. I think this game might turn out to be very interesting, so we'll keep an eye on that one. And I think just giving a quick update on board number 4, where Lou is playing. She also has a nice position, and she can. She also has quite a nice stare. That's going to be interesting. I think she's aiming for this f5 move anytime soon, which is a very typical move to try and weaken this very solid looking pawn structure. Or she just develops her pieces. That's also fine, of course. So there's board 3 and 4 that might have interesting attacking opportunities for both sides. Sorry, for both players. She goes queen d6. Okay. More of a positional approach, controlling d6.
Looks rather unpleasant for black.
Yeah, it does. But also it's what black does, right? Black should be familiar with these structures if you play at the opening like this. So her competitor for the golden board medal, what board is she playing?
Oh, let's take a look. I believe it's Uzbekistan.
Did they drop that low?
Yeah, I'm also a bit surprised to see that.
Ah, board number 10.
Board number 10, yeah.
If we look closely, we can see her in the light blue, I think. The second row of boards from the top. I think that's where she's seated at the moment.
Yeah, I believe so too. She's playing with the white pieces now. So she has 7.5 out of 8. And yeah, they're playing Kazakhstan 4 now. Yeah,
her opponent has 14.99 according to the rapid rating, or maybe that's her FIDE rating, Anna-Maja. But well, we can't really say for sure how strong she is, because we've seen some more lower rated players playing very strong. But position is looking quite okay for white, having developed all her pieces. Looks comfortable. I mean, she is depending on whatever Lou is doing. If Lou wins, then she has no chance of getting the golden medal. But she has to win to at least compete for this golden board medal.
Yeah. It's a big fight on board 4, and Anna-Maja has a pretty good pairing to at least finish second place, with the chance to fight for the gold medal.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they prefer to play a bit higher than board 10, but for her to get his last victory,
yeah,
it's she doesn't mind too much getting a somewhat lower rated opponent. Okay, let's try to keep an eye on that match as well. Any other potential board medal winners we should check? Let's have a look at this overview again. We have a look. Let's have a look at board 2. We saw Xiaotong, of course, from China, but let's check out Arthur de Winter from the Netherlands.
He's also been doing very well this tournament so far. 7 out of 8 is a really good score, but yeah, let's see if he can fight for the golden medal.
I wonder what board they are playing.
Yeah, let's take a look. They've dropped quite a bit after yesterday's loss, of course. Board number 5. It's not too bad.
No, but I'm not sure if we can capture them on camera, but we'll see if that's at least get their game up. And oh,
we see a glimpse.
yeah, we see the
Of the
orange
Dutch
the
team.
orange t-shirts, and if you just look straight through, well, you just talked about Samedov, then you will see a bit of his hair. He is there. He is somewhere over there, but he has an interesting position because he attacked early on. What did he do? Relopez goes for knight c3, knight d5, takes an f6. He doesn't castle. He goes rook g1, and he's pushing g4. Playing against Nicolozzi Shamataba. Yeah. Knight d8, and well, this is looking promising because you can push g5, g6. There's some very standard idea, and it looks quite strong already. Because where does the queen go?
The queen feels almost trapped.
If you go to g6, knight h4, you still have h7 left.
G6. Okay, the knight will be hanging, so
Yeah, it's
you
hanging.
should not.
You
lose
can't
that.
defend it, so that's a bit annoying.
You actually have quite some time, I think. So maybe rook h1 back.
True.
Queen f3.
Yeah, so the position is very uncomfortable. And also if you have to go back to e7, then you're abandoning your king a little bit. And white's king just stays in the center, even castles queenside. Knight can go to h4, queen to h5, pawn to g6, maybe knight even to g6, because the f7 pawn is pinned, so you can be in trouble very soon there. Yes, looking good for Arthur, which means that his direct competitor Xiaotong also needs to try and win his game to compete for this golden medal, because Arthur is taking a firm yeah, not sure how to say that in English, but he is doing well to go for the win here, and putting pressure on his Chinese competitor. And then the third board, we have more competitors for the golden medal because they share the lead at the moment with 6.5 out of 8.
Ooh, that one can go anywhere still because there's also a few players with 6 points.
Yep, so Kong, Agasarov and Fischuk are the 3 competing for the golden board medal. And Kong is, well, as we saw, he was down up the pawn, but might be facing a strong attack by his opponent, so that might become tricky again. Let's see how his competitors are doing.
Yeah, so we've Agasarov, who is playing against Edgar Mamedov on board 3.
I think we should see them in the distance, board number 3. We don't have face cams here for these players, but we do see them play. And he's playing black against Mamedov. And his position is looking healthy.
Mostly for white. Black's pawn structure looks rather weak. But for the moment it doesn't seem too much of a problem. It's black to move.
Yeah, d5 might be an issue, but there's still this pin which is saving him for now. Yeah, the white's position very healthy, and white's up a pawn, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Up a pawn has a much better pawn structure. There's more pawns that are in danger of black, so yeah, it's looking good for white and not very good for Agasarov, who is trying to win a medal on this board.
Yep. Yeah, the pin is the only thing black has, but I think with rook c1 and knight e1, you can always make sure c2 is well protected, and then you can make a knight move like knight takes e4, knight takes d5, and knight b5, maybe knight a4 even, but at least it gives you possibilities, and you should be able to neutralize this play by black on the c file. So looking good for Mamedov, not looking so good for Agasarov, and then we had, already forgot the third player competing there for the golden medal, Fishchuk, there we go.
Fishchuk of Ukraine.
Playing
On board 11 against Canada 3.
Canada 3 on 11, they're doing well. Yeah, they should be on some overview camera, and let's see if we can put the overview camera up on the board of the lower playing hall, if I ask the operator nicely. We'll see if that's they're gonna be possible. Okay, we're looking for the board now, so might be up there anytime. But I think if we have the overview of the lower boards on the playing hall, then it should be, you said board 11, right?
11, yes.
Yeah, so it's all the way at the back.
The very last one.
You see the Ukrainian player Fishchuk in the blue jersey, board number 3. And the position is a bit strange. What happened here? Ah, 4 knights, knight d4. So there's so many tricky lines in the e4, e5 openings. Takes on d4, goes e5, takes on c3, takes on f6, rook e1, king d8. Yeah. Okay, it's still solid for black, but it takes a long time now to develop your pieces.
Yeah, this bishop on c8 is not happy at all.
Nope. You can go b6, bishop b7, but still bishop not very happy. And why there's more space? c4 is a logical move to expand even more. Maybe c5. Try to get your own bishop to f4 on this diagonal. It's quite dangerous. So Fishchuk is looking good against Ethan Su, who is his opponent in this match. Yeah, so the Chinese players are not safe yet for the board medals.
No,
There's
not
still
at
some
all.
heavy competition there.
And it's very nice to see.
Okay, I think we've had all the potential golden medal winners now. Let's have a look at the first match. Let's see what's up.
Yeah, let's see. We've seen quite a moves have been played in those matches, in those games. On board 1, there's a knight on b4 planted. Seems like black is doing pretty well over there. Whereas in board 2, it seems like the classic Ruy Lopez, where not much is happening. There's a lot of maneuvering happening, and it's going to take some time until we see some action there. And on board 3, as we mentioned earlier, I believe, so black is up a pawn, but white has some counterplay for it. But is it enough, is the question.
Yep, and Lou, she's just maneuvering. Spend some time, but okay.
Had a knight on b7. I don't think I remember the last time I saw a knight on b7
The
in the
nice
middle game.
fianchetto, yeah. Let's check what happens at board number 3, because I think that's the most exciting board, because it's very unbalanced. And we just saw, okay, when we left this game a few moves back, we talked about developing this bishop, which is quite difficult. And he played queen b4, rook to c1, and now he took on e5. And we were somewhat concerned about this diagonal, but with the move bishop d7, he makes sure to be able to play move bishop c6, grabbing this e4 square, making it a lot harder for white to get both the bishop and the queen on this long diagonal all the way to h7. So that way he protects his king with the bishop on c6. And he's still up a pawn, and white has to be careful because d4 is very weak, and if you lose d4 and you lose e5, then there's nothing left. Black can just play g6 and you can defend quite easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those pawns on the queen side can also become very scary at some point.
Yeah, so does he still have a way to launch an attack here? I guess the most logical move is d5.
Yeah.
Stopping bishop c6 and try to open up the position there. Put some pressure on f7 potentially.
And it's on the board.
Ah, nice. Let's check there. Yeah, you just played d5. That's enough. He'll just leave now. Yeah, Kong, he was he's also quite young. I'm not sure how old he is, but he looks quite young.
He does look quite young. Yeah, he seems pretty young. It's very high rated. So
I want to say he was struggling a bit this tournament. Had some nice escapes, but
born 2009, so 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very impressive. So he doesn't actually have a rapid rating. His classical rating is 2380. So I believe this tournament he will have a rapid rating.
yeah, I'm not sure how it works exactly if you get a rating after playing 9 games. But yeah.
He's been gaining a lot of rating actually recently, so very impressive and a lot of potential for this young player.
And he took on d5. I still have to get used to that. People are actually being born after like 2000. I'm like, that's the thing, right? Okay. And these are already like 2009 and oh right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Bishop takes d5 is on the board. And this seems like a lot of trouble for black, but Kong seems very confident.
Bishop e6 played. So he's giving up on the b7 pawn, but I think it's a clever choice because he realizes that white can just take there, that's fine. But there's some issues for white because a2 and e5 are both rather weak. And you just give up the pawn, but then you gain compensation here because you attack the bishop. Bishop probably goes to d5 or e4, I'm not quite sure. And you can decide to take an a2 or you can try to pressure this pawn. So you're out of trouble, and you even have queen d4 immediately. Okay, that is strong. So I think he's gonna win back the pawn very soon, and therefore it's a clever defense by him. And yeah, his opponents might realize that now as well. And you would like to take on e6 and then play moves as rook c7 and queen g3, but there's going to be a lot of exchanges. It's hard to pull that one off here because queen is under attack. Queen g3, you can still give check. You can take an f1, get the other rook to f8. Difficult to get the initiative, so he decides to take on b7. But now I think black is just simply better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice recovery.
All right. Let's check board 1. It's weird.
Yeah, what is the pawn doing on d3 out of all places?
Let's just back up a few moves. b5, a4. Okay, so this is how it happened. Takes on b5, knight b4, queen c3, bishop e4. Just simply going for knight c2. So knight a3 seems to be the only move. And then knight d3 check. You want to keep the right to castle, so takes on d3, pawn takes, and castle. And material is equal. The rest isn't. What a mess.
Yeah, this is crazy. This bishop on e4, I really like it. It feels like it can be captured any moment. It's very loose over there, but it does feel just like amazing piece, protecting the pawn on d3, which is also bothering white a lot. So I see a lot of potential here for black.
You think you can manage to hold on to the pawn?
Yeah, that's a good question. There may be some moves such as c5 possible, but the question is if it's worth it to commit to that.
Yeah, you could also take the knight, but I think this pawn structure doesn't weaken the white king as much as you might hope. And now you're definitely losing d3. So that doesn't look right. And you could play c5 indeed. So I feel like I should take to keep this pawn on the board and to isolate the d3 pawn. Knight takes, I guess, and that's different.
And knight b4 and bishop b4 seem very unpleasant for white to deal with.
Okay, so I'll just defend my pawn.
What about knight b4?
Now you're going to d5.
d5, c2. I have a lot of options.
You do. The thing is that you have so much control over these light squares. I mean, all of them are they're yours. And I don't like it. What am I supposed to do about it? No, this is difficult. I was hoping I would get this d pawn very quick, but c5 feels like a very strong move. And wait, c5. So maybe I shouldn't take. I might have to be very precise here, because allowing this knight out is probably a bad decision. And if I take here, I can just take here.
Yeah. I was hoping to have something here like queen d5, bishop takes f3.
Queen d5.
Here maybe c6.
Yeah, that looks very tempting.
We're just going to queen.
c6, so takes, and then c7, right?
Yeah.
Well, this looks very dangerous for black, if not just lost.
There's still knight c6. But the question is, what do you do after taking on f3?
Yeah. You're causing a lot of trouble, you're not up any material.
Yeah.
This looks dangerous. Okay, so c5 might be a bit too much. Yeah, it's a very tricky position. It's a kind of position where you need more time than just the time they have at the moment. But I think Laurens Bormann, I think he's doing quite a good job, and he is looking very confident. I like it.
Oh, you're just staring the opponent in the eyes.
Yeah.
With that smirk on his face.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably even worse than Lou.
Yeah. No, he's happy. He is happy. He's even staring at the webcam. Did you see that? He's like giving everyone a massive stare. No, that's but it's also looking good for him. He knows that he's up 15 minutes, which is quite a lot. If you only start with 45 minutes, and his position looks good. His opponent looks, I think, somewhat insecure. He's not really happy with the current position, and well, can't blame him for that.
Yeah, he's down to 15 minutes versus 30 minutes, so that's also quite a huge time difference for this time control. So he really needs to come up with something to try to save this position.
Yes. Oh, in the meantime, we see developments on the second match between Turkey and Kazakhstan too. we should have a look what is going on there, because I think it is Gurel who's already trying to execute this very strong attack.
Oh, we have to take a look there because we see a knight on h7. How did that happen?
So we left the game here, knight bd2, knight c7, knight e4, knight e6, jumping around with the horses, b6, queen d2. So white has the space advantage and now it just gives the bishop for the knight and goes queen f4. Now this is very tricky because black doesn't have that much space, so the only defender of the king is the bishop. And it's so difficult to bring any other pieces to the defense. And he goes c5, knight g5, attacking f7, forcing rook f8, and now he just takes the pawn on h7. That is... well, we just saw the evaluation bar. It's supposed to be good, but how does it work? I take.
Knight g5.
Check, we go back.
Queen h4.
Rook e8.
Now let's see.
I guess you play e6. Because what else?
Yeah, so after queen h7, maybe you can capture g6.
Yeah. So if... yeah, no matter what move you make, let's say you take an e6, there's check and queen g6.
Yeah, this attack must be crushing because
Threatening
now the rook also
mate.
gets involved.
Threatening here. Or indeed here, here. Many options. And if you don't take on e6, well, this is a threat, so... and if you go f6, it's similar, but even more devastating. And if you take with the bishop, I think you still take with the rook.
Yeah, you just win the queen. Actually, okay, I don't think checkmate. You at least have knight takes e6.
Yeah. But I think this is winning.
Mm-hmm.
King g8 and a knight e6.
Ah,
no,
there's a checkmate. Yes.
Okay. That's something to worry about. So she's supposed to go rook e8 back? That feels like resigning.
Yeah.
Because you get the same trouble. Maybe you're supposed to make a move like... I don't know, maybe you have to make this f5 kind of move. I don't know, this position is just looking very bad.
Maybe rook e8 is also not really helpful because you've knight e to g5.
Yeah.
And f7 will be under attack and you can't really play f6. So...
okay, looking very good for white here.
yeah.
Let's check. Okay, let's quickly look at board 2 in this match, since we are looking at this match anyway now.
Mm-hmm.
Where we see... look at Nurgaliev now playing Erdog moves, and we have more moves, of course. Knight e8, bishop h6, knight g7, f4 as we expected, f5 as we expected. Takes, knight takes. That's a surprising capture. Just giving up your bishop for the pinned knight, which you can take at any moment. But I think he wants to go for this e6 square, which is of course a good idea. But I'm not sure if you have to take the knight first. Maybe it's clever to wait with such a move.
Mm-hmm.
But he got his knight to e6, and black played rook f7, and the knight is quite nice on e6, but also the black knight is pretty good on e5. Opposite color bishops, which can be quite complicated if one side manages to launch an attack. But it's hard. Both bishops not too active.
Yeah, those pawns on the king side of black are a bit strange. It seems like they are defending very well, but I'm curious if white at some point can sacrifice on f5 to start an attack. For the moment, the black pieces seem to be defending well, but I'm curious if White can prepare an attack and consider sacrificing an F5.
That would be insane if he manages to pull that one off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also c5 sometimes. Or just prepare with b4, c5. He looks happy with the position though. He's very eager to come up with a good move, it seems. Like he has plenty to choose from. Okay.
We've another pawn situation happening on board 3 of match 2, where the pawn is on c3, right behind the white pawn on c4, so that's pretty funny to see.
There it is.
There's no way this pawn should be good there, but I'm also seeing some opportunities for black with knight e5, attacking the pawn on d3, and it's black to move now.
Yeah, black. I quite like black though, because
Yeah.
it feels like white needs some time to win the c3 pawn. It's not so simple because you don't want to really move the knight, because then you're giving up on some squares. Maybe also the e5 square is already a strong possibility. But if you don't move the knight, you can't win the pawn. And the d3 pawn also is somewhat weak. It's not so easy for Kilic.
Yeah.
He has the bishops. He has the bishop. That's to his advantage. But I don't know if he can keep enough pawns and keep enough initiative to make use of that bishop.
Yeah.
It's even black to move. I was looking at a move for white, but it's black to move even. Interesting position. Kazakhstan 2 is playing good so far. Okay, board 1 is struggling, but the other boards are doing pretty well, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting matches in this one as well. Shall we take a look maybe at Samadov against Makridis? I believe those were the two that are fighting for the board 1 golden medal. They both have the same amount of points, which makes it even more exciting that they're facing each other in the final round. So let's take a look. It was this game that was super sharp. What was the continuation of this game?
I think they...
Wait. The game finished.
They made a draw.
Oh, I didn't even realize. They made a draw, so that means that both players have the same amount of points. They are sharing first place, but based on tie breaks, the arbiters will have to take a look at that one. But later on, we will know who is the golden medal winner of board 1, because it's one of the players.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone else. Let's have a look, but I don't think there's anyone else who can still overtake them. Nope, they have 8 out of 9, both of them. I mean, they have an excellent, amazing tournament, and whoever wins the gold medal, I'm not sure what the first tiebreak is when it comes to these board prizes. So rating performance might also be close to equal after this game. So, okay, we'll maybe we'll manage to figure that one out and update everyone. But yep.
Yeah, one medal is basically decided already. And well, for the bronze medal on board 1, there's still a lot of players that are fighting for that one. If Eli Milikov wins today, then they will be 3rd place for sure. If not, then there might be some tie again.
Yeah, and Eli Milikov, she's playing against Kazakhstan 5, and she already drew her game after 10 moves.
That is
playing against 1800. That is surprising. That's not how you imagine a fight for. And I see Arthur de Winter putting back the pieces in the starting position. He won. He won fast.
Wow.
That means he assures himself of the silver medal at least. And yeah, might go for gold. Good tournament by him. Let's see. Okay, so this draw, I'm not sure if it's a draw. Maybe the game's still ongoing and there's some reason why it's called a draw, but that's a very strange result. We haven't seen any quick draws this tournament, and now suddenly. Also, Adis Gurel won his match against Ergali Suleiman. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gurel, as mentioned, he got the wild card for the Grand Swiss, and in Isle of Man. So, if you want to see more of him, you will.
Oh, very, very nice win by Adis Gurel.
So let's see how Arthur de Winter won his game, and then we see how Gurel won his game. So we have time for that since they finished very early. G5 was played, Queen E7, Knight H4. You need to unpin this somehow. So black played Bishop E6, but Knight F5. Yeah, this is devastating. You can't block the diagonal anymore because the knight can't go to E6. So Queen D7, Queen H5, G6 is a massive threat here. Bishop takes F2, that's desperate. King takes, Queen takes F5. Just King E2. Black's just down a piece and white is still attacking. Few more moves and black
That's
resigns
it.
due to either Bishop H6 or Rook F1. There's many ways to win. Alright, nice victory by him, and also Adis Gurel won his game, so let's have a look at his game. And because we saw him just play Knight takes H7, F6 was played, Knight takes F8, G5 was played, and Queen F3, and just resigns. Can't blame him. If you take on F6, you can just take, sorry, if you take on F8, you can just take on F6 because there's more trouble on this diagonal. It just collapsed very, very fast.
Yeah, and this means that Adis Gurel is actually fighting for the bronze medal, sharing third place with Eli Miliko, and of course Hao Enju also has the opportunity. If he wins his game today, he will also have 7 points out of 9. So this is a very interesting moment. We already have a tied third place, but Hao Enju also has a chance to tie for third place. So yeah, we'll take a look at that game later on. But yeah, it's very exciting. Very exciting to see so many players on 7 points.
Let's check match 1.
Let's see. Ooh, what happened in the game of Kong?
Well, I think there's a little transmission error, but I'm not sure anymore.
We can quickly confirm this.
Yeah, that's a transmission error.
Oh yeah, it was a capture on D1, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I guess here there was rook takes D1 instead of the move given by the live board. But as you can see, what we expected happened. Black is up the pawn, and there we go. We have the live position now. Yeah, black is up the pawn, and can slowly try to look for a win in his endgame, and has good chances because the queen is centralized. This bishop is looking awful on b1. You have this nice idea with rook b2, just activating your rook, and if you manage to pull off a move like bishop d5, you are pretty close to winning the game. But he has time to try and execute all this. Let us. I was drawing arrows, but we couldn't see those. My bad. Yeah, queen is on e5. You can play with rook b2, bishop d5, for example. And yeah, looking good for black. He can just slowly but surely try and pressure his opponent, who is not looking overly excited with his current position.
Let's take a look at Liu's game. A lot of things have happened there, and I see a pawn on d6, which seems to be pretty good. And it seems like black's position is slowly falling apart.
Let's see how this happened. They just exchanged the queens there. Queen c7, queen d6. Yeah, now you you have some massive issues here on b6. How do you defend this pawn? You can't really move it because c5 is hanging. How is this supposed to be solved?
Yeah, after knight a4, you can still capture on b6. You can try to attack the knight on a4. That seems very, very unpleasant.
Yeah.
And bishop on g7 is not doing anything either.
Lewis, it's looking good for her.
With this game, if she were to win this game, she would have a 100% score finish with 9 out of 9. So that would be huge, and I'm sure she's trying to win this game as well. The time situation is more leveled now because Lou was down about 10 minutes earlier. So she's been doing much better on the clock now, and she also has a really great position.
Yep, she does. And you can also see that black is suffering. There still might be a way maybe to, get some compensation, but as soon as you drop a pawn against a player who won all her games, you're gonna doubt yourself and not feel too happy about what's going on. Alright, looking good for Lou there. Let's check board number 1 because we saw Wen Shui in trouble. Well, at least we thought he was in trouble. Let's just see if he is actually in trouble. So we left off after short castle by white. Black played queen d5. Rook d1 was played. Bishop takes a3. Pawn takes a3. Queen takes b5. Now white is really trying to get the d3 pawn, and I'm not sure if that's the best choice because he's giving up so much initiative, so much space he had. Maybe you want to go like a4, bishop a3 first. I mean, you're probably going to win the d3 pawn anytime if you really want to, but now he's giving up all his activity to grab that pawn, and then material will be equal if he manages to do so. I like black, to be honest.
Yeah, I see a lot of potential for black. I mean, not a lot of the pieces are developed from both sides, but I feel like white's pieces are in a worse situation compared to black's pieces, especially because of this bishop on e4. It's a very disturbing piece, and it is doing its job.
Yeah, and if you try to simplify, for example, you take on c6, and you take on d3. Okay, black might be able to win a pawn, but let's just say he doesn't. Now the thing is, if there's like knight e7, knight d5, the knight seems very strong, and the bishop feels rather useless. So this endgame is not very interesting for white to enter, but it is quite likely in many lines. So he needs to find a solution for that as well, and I think you want to keep the queens on the board. So maybe a move like queen d2 is interesting, but it feels kind of slow to work around this d3 pawn now. You still have a4, bishop a3, and you can also try to jump to the queen side with queen f4, queen g3, and maybe bring the bishop to h6. So you have some ideas, and you can shut down this diagonal easily with a move like f3 if you really have to. He needs to keep the queens on the board. Can't give black such easy development. But yeah, maybe there's other squares also interesting for the queen. But d2 feels about right.
Yeah.
He's still thinking? Yes, he is. Let's check board number 2, because we haven't seen that board quite often because of its
yeah, it's a pretty close position from Lord Lopez. Very slow play, very characteristic of this opening. So yeah, but currently there's a knight on f5, so g6 is not going to happen anytime soon. The pawn h6 would be hanging, and yeah, white wants to push that f pawn up to f4, and maybe try to start an attack on the king side there.
Yep, it feels like your only move to activate your pieces. But is black doing anything on the queen side we have to be careful of? So let's say we play f4. Okay, I guess I'll take, right?
Mm-hmm. Bishop takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the board. f4 has been played.
Nice.
So we may see this on the board actually.
And now
What about knight e5?
Mm-hmm. A good move. Now how do I continue as white?
Yeah.
You're very solid in the center, but we need more than solid if we want to attack on the king side.
His queen on f1 feels misplaced. You'd rather have a rook there so that the queen has other opportunities to go for.
Maybe we should take with the queen on f4 for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then go here.
Black captured on f4. Yeah, but yeah, I like queen takes f4.
Then you can also go rook f1 and maybe
Mhm.
threaten knight takes h6. So if you can bring a few pieces with tempo, it always is quite nice. Yeah, queen takes f4 might be interesting here. As long as we're not weakening the first rank, but I don't think we are. I'm looking at the c4 move the entire time. Maybe now it works, because after dc4 there might be d3. With the queen on f1 that was not possible. But here maybe it is possible. This is very messy. No, he takes with the bishop. He takes with the bishop on f4. Yeah, so now I like knight e5. And then white needs to find a move. Not very simple.
Yeah, maybe you can consider queen f2 to attack d4, but then you have to take care of knight g4. So it's not very easy to find the right moves here.
The other knight, not sure which one. Rather closed, still rather closed.
Yeah.
Okay, and board 1 we do see what we feared for white. And I think he's losing, Laurent Bormann, I think he's losing track there. He played, what did he play? I want to see his, yeah, not looking overly excited anymore. He played bishop b2, yeah, so I don't like the exchange of queens. I think that's a serious mistake here. I think you shouldn't do that. Because the endgames look so nice for black, he doesn't have to castle anymore. And yeah, he did manage to get this endgame with this potentially good knight against the bishop on c3. And now rook d5. And black is just in control. You can castle. I still think you should castle because king e7. If there's a bishop check, it might become a bit awkward. But he can just move around, maybe go knight to f5 or just leave it on c6 for now.
Yeah, prepare c5.
Yeah, just put a rook here, try to take on e5 or pressure d4. No, this feels very comfortable for black. He seems to be back in control. And especially since Laurens is losing the momentum a bit here and needs to find a way to turn tables again, but it's, yeah, you can tell by his face it's not so easy. Still giving his opponent a stare, but it's your move.
He's like following his opponent's eyes.
Yeah, that used to be a trick, right? To follow your opponent's eyes, see what he's looking at.
Yeah.
see board 3 because he's making progress, and then I think we should switch to a different match. Because Kong is getting there. As we mentioned, he wanted rook b2 and bishop d5, and you got rook to b2, pinning the bishop, and I think bishop d5 is not far away now. Maybe bishop f5 is a threat. It's getting very dicey here for white. And there's even this bishop h3 idea sometimes, allowing g takes, and then you have a queen check to maybe create some clever double attack. There's some tricks here for black, and I think he's much better in the meantime.
And it's looking very good for black. His pin on the second rank is disastrous, and it's really difficult to defend here because you don't want to play rook d2. You don't really have many squares for the queen, and rook c1 is also pretty passive. So, yeah, how do you even defend this bishop?
Not easy.
Yeah.
You might be in this pin for quite a long time. By the way, on this camera view, you see those white cans on the table. You see them?
Yeah, yeah.
Every team got a can of stroopwafels, which is one of the nicest typically Dutch treats. Well, some sort of cookies, but it sounds a bit weird to call a stroopwafel a cookie.
Yeah, yeah, waffle.
But every team got one, which is a very nice surprise by the organization. I do hope they enjoy them, by the way. But I think they'll do fine.
Yeah,
rook
that's
d2 play, by the
amazing.
way. Yeah, stroopwafel, as we say in Dutch. The stroopwafel is the English mispronunciation of that word, stroopwafel. Everyone just remembers that.
Yeah.
The world is a slightly better place again.
The tasting
Oh yes,
Yeah,
this
of
is of course
course.
a very good moment. Yes, the stroopwafel tasting video.
Here we go.
I love food.
This is Gevulde Koi.
I'll give it maybe a 7.
It's actually good. A 7 out of 10.
It seems to have like coconut in it, and it's really sweet, so I give it an 8.
You like it?
No! No!
It's kind of sticky. That's nice.
Mine is 6.9. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's quite soft, yeah.
This is actually my favorite so far. I think it's better than this because it's not too sweet.
I love it. 69 out of 10.
It seems like something you could take for like a good 2-3 days, and you're like, you know what? I can get another.
Say it again.
Yes, stroopwafels. Never forget. You should at least eat one in your life.
Yes, the players were very happy with stroopwafels. So maybe this video was a test to see, okay, which candy should we give to the players? And just because of this video, they decided it has to be stroopwafels.
Good choice, very good choice. And if you want to see more of this content, of course, check the socials, hashtag Youth Olympiad, and you'll find some more nice content that has been shot during this tournament. So let us have a look at the match on board number 3, because there we see Kazakhstan playing Armenia, and they are fighting for probably bronze medal if we expect China to clinch tournament victory and Turkey to get second place. Then these teams are fighting for bronze.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that Kazakhstan 2 is ahead of Kazakhstan 1 in the standings. So that would be pretty crazy to have Kazakhstan 2 finishing 3rd place.
I think it will turn around though, because I think Kazakhstan 2 will get beaten by Turkey. I think, it's not sure of course, but I think Kazakhstan 1, well, Armenia is very strong, so they haven't won that match, of course. They won't win it easily, but there's a good chance they do win and overtake Kazakhstan 2. But clearly Kazakhstan 2 is doing very well. But they have strong players, many teams, strong players. So let's see, we have the game between Ansat and Piliposyan, and that is an endgame, a typical Sicilian endgame, where usually black should be better. That's always what they say. You have the extra center pawn, so the endgames are favorable for black. king is also in the center. But we'll see if that's actually the case. The thing is, if you start pushing pawns, they just become weak in the endgame. And so let's say you go rook to c5, you already have to put your rook on g1, because if you play f4 there might be more weakened pawns. Maybe here it's okay. Maybe here you're doing fine. But it is tricky. It can be tricky sometimes. You can lose those pawns very quickly if you don't pay attention. And white, I'm not sure where to attack because black is very solid. This is the only real foundation of the pawn chain there, and it's just defended by the king, and that doesn't look like it's going anywhere. And
yeah, I guess you can try to play rook h7 and prepare e5 to take on g6, but there's a lot of moves that black still has, and after rook h7 black is not in real danger, and actually e5 has been played, shutting down all those opportunities to try to attack. So after e5 black must be clearly better.
yeah, I would still say it's balanced. It's not like white is now g5 also is not that weak anymore because it's hard to attack. Also the white king is centralized. It should be around equal.
Yeah.
Okay, this endgame might go on for quite some time. Board 2, we have some nice developments there. Here we see Nurgaliev from Uzbekistan 2 playing Erdogmuz, and as mentioned, the opposite color bishops, we talked about it in, I think, this position. They're still quite passive, but if one side manages to create an attack, you're basically playing with an extra piece, and he's trying to do so at the moment because he played queen d2, black played knight f8, and he just ignores. He plays b4, and I think that's very strong because he just wants to go c5 and bishop c4. So if black takes on e6, pawn takes, rook takes, c5, it's very concrete as well.
Yeah. Ugh.
But even if it's not concrete, having the bishop in this diagonal is usually just worth a pawn, even without winning the exchange. So I quite like his move b4, and I think therefore black has some things to solve here because c5 is coming either way, and so is bishop c4. And if you don't do something back, then white's just going to push the pawns and that's it. And c5 seems unstoppable because it's defended 1, 2, 3 times. That should be enough.
Yeah, this is pretty devastating for black, and despite the strong bishop on f6 controlling the entire diagonal, it is not able to do anything, and it's just standing there, and the most it does is just defending the king, really, but it doesn't really have much of a purpose.
Nope, true. c5 is almost trapping the queen as well. You have to go to a7. I'm not sure what he should play. I think he should take an e6. Take, and I think he should just sack the exchange. Take on c5. Maybe you want to take first on c5 and only then play bishop c4. Let's say queen, I don't know, somewhere. You go bishop c4 and maybe just rook e7, and then just king g7. No, he doesn't. He played something else. He played queen a7. Is that clever? Okay, so what happened? He's down to 2 minutes, by the way. 2 minutes 47 seconds.
Ooh.
So what happens after
rough.
c5?
He could technically sacrifice the pawn on d6 and try to recapture it, because this pawn on d5 could be a huge weakness then. Maybe you play...
But I'm probably going to push the pawn, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say I want to play rook d7, and I figured c6 can be also pretty annoying.
White may be much better here.
Is there... Okay, yeah, capturing on e6. Again, bishop c4 is the problem.
Yeah, as white I would just play c5. Just don't overthink this. Just push the pawn, keep your time advantage, and I mean he'll need it for a later moment in the game, I think. Now just play c5. Yeah, I mean even if you might lose a pawn, it's just the right move to activate your bishop, activate your rook. That's just what you want to do.
Yeah.
Alright. He will think about that, I'm sure. No, he doesn't play it. He played bishop f3. That's a no.
That's a no. Taking it easy.
Might also be good. Still c5 is a move. But now you might play b6.
Yeah, b6 seems like a good defense.
But now there's going to be a lot of pawn exchanges, and the queen is also activated now by controlling the 7th rank. I'm not a big fan of bishop f3. Not a big fan. But yeah. Okay, what happens board 3 in match 1? Let's have a look, because that's the game seems to be about to finish.
Ooh, that seems like it's tactically lost for white, because you cannot capture the bishop with the queen. You will simply lose the rook.
Let's see. You just made use of the pin. Yeah.
Yeah, the pin is devastating. Black is not in a rush. And now rook c1 check.
Yes. Rook c1, king h2, and queen to c7.
Yeah, and there's still g3. Guessing you have to take that.
Yeah, and after queen takes, there is queen c2 check.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can't take, you have to go king g2, but
then rook c2 of some sort.
yeah, things are just getting worse. Yeah.
You can even play f5 if you really want to, but there's probably no need to go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, g3
And
is
this
on the
is
board.
actually on the board, yeah. You even have ideas to play queen c6 and threaten checkmate on h1.
Queen c6 first, queen f3, and then queen c2. But okay, I guess you can take on h4 now still. Yeah, okay, it's just winning. He can just pick one line that wins, or just continue the game, because he will be up like 1 or 2 pawns. And white king is still unsafe, but and board 2 also is exciting, because there white sacrificed a piece.
Ooh. White is going for the attack on the king side. Let's take a look how that happened.
So f4 was played, takes bishop f4, knight e5, rook a1. That's a nice move.
Wow.
Rook d7, king h1, g6. So knight takes h6, and he was planning king h7 and then trapping the knight, but he just doesn't care. He just goes back. Back to f5, pawn takes, knight g6, bishop g5. Wait, but hold on, after g6, I say he sacrificed the knight, but he has no choice, right? The knight is trapped on f5. So he had to take on h6.
He had to, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure if it's a sacrifice or a blunder.
It must be a combination of both, where it was sort of intentional.
Yeah, intentional blunder. Or unintentional sacrifice. Sorry, of course. There he is.
Yeah, the knight g4, I really like that move actually, because you are preparing to go to e5 maybe, knight h6 to trade off some pieces, because now that black is up material, black wants to simplify, of course, so any trade, as long as you're not losing material, is just good.
Yeah, and you can also play the move f6, which might help quite a bit with bringing the rook as a defender, making sure you won't get checkmated. I think black is just going to be up a piece, and I think, especially because white is just lacking some space. I think if you just neutralize the attack, then you must be better automatically because you're up the piece, and there won't be that much activity for white, it seems, for the moment. They're both down to 5 minutes.
It's okay. We're slightly interrupted, but go ahead, Stefan.
Yeah. No coffee needed. We're too excited already. Okay, so board 3 has been finished.
Queen takes G3 was played, and Queen C2 winning the rook, and thus the game.
Yeah.
Nice win by Kong, and this means if we check the results on the boards, that Kong is first place in board 3, but still depends on Agasarov and Fishuk. So we should take a look what is going on in their games, as it depends on those games whether Kong has won the first prize, the first medal on board 3.
Yeah, we can see that Agasarov is struggling. He's playing black here. Materials equal, but the queen and the knight are so much stronger than queen and bishop. So I'm pretty confident to say that Agasarov will not win his game and might even just lose his game, which is more likely than him winning it. And if we check Fishuk against Ethan Su, we see that Fishuk should be able to win this endgame. Because the plan is quite simple: bishop g7 and push the pawn all the way to h8, and it's up to black to see if there's a way to prevent that from happening. So it might be shared victory between Kong and Fishuk there, and yeah.
Yeah, nice win by Kong. Very impressive. It looked like it was pretty equal for a while, but he made it work. He made it happen, was up a pawn, and easily converted it to a win.
Yes, and let's have a look at the other boards in this match. We see China doing well on board 1 as expected. Board 2, as we saw, Xiao Tong is down a piece, and apparently, according to the engine, doesn't have enough compensation there. And Liu is, she has a better endgame, up 2 pawns. So looking good for China there. That means we should check what Turkey is doing on board number 2. And we'll see that Turkey has this 1-0 lead because of the win of Edis Gurel. But you can also see board 2, Erdogmuzi is slightly worse. And board 3 is equal, but board 4, Akkad seems to be completely winning up several pawns. And that should be rather easy to convert. It might finish very quickly even. Let's have a look at that one, since they are now playing. And we would like to see the end of the match if it ends soon. So Kaldarova, she is in trouble with the white pieces, and Akkad is looking for a way to win this game. White does seem active with queen and g8.
H5 been played. Nice move to make sure there is no check, so just h5 possible. Yeah, but also for this pawn a4, it might have been very difficult still to convert. But this pawn a4 is going to distract white a lot.
Yeah, you can push the pawn whenever you like, and some piece has to respond, and you can just go the other way. Nice decoy. But okay, she's putting up a good fight, 15 seconds left, but she's just making these annoying moves like attacking e4, and Akkad has some work to do. She has plenty of time, but and she has a winning position, so all the ingredients are there, but she still needs to convert this position. And board 2 is, I want to see board 2, because that's also, her Dogmus is struggling.
Yeah.
Because his opponent is doing quite well. Nurgaliev Let's see if b6 was played. Yeah, b6 was played in the game. g4, wow, that's some power play there. f4 to keep things close. g5 even. Bishop e5, what's going on? Bishop g4. And now he uses the knight to grab the pawn on f4.
Some trades and the pawn on b4 drop, but the pawn d6 is also hanging.
Yes, very loose. You can also play rook f1 first, just to make sure the queen doesn't go anywhere. You threaten queen f7. Okay, but you might want to have the pawn.
Yeah.
Because if you allow, let's say, queen e7, and you don't win the d6 pawn, then it's not so clear where you're gonna what you're gonna play next.
Queen e4 is also a threat, so yeah, not very clear for white.
Yeah, so just take the pawn, but also the b pawn looks dangerous. Queen takes d6, queen takes a2. It runs fast. Maybe still rook to f1, and after b3 you already win, I think, with playing a queen move like queen c7. I guess it's winning, or is it just a check? I don't know.
Queen takes d6 is on the board?
Yeah, he played it.
What is Erdogmus going to do? Probably taking that pawn on a2.
Yeah, there he goes.
It's on the board, and now it's white's turn. Does he want to take that pawn on b4, or is he going to play other move?
You can just take on
You
b4.
can capture it, but it doesn't feel so safe for some reason. The rook on c1 is loose, and queen f2 might happen. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe you want to take on nah.
I'm not sure.
So you want to defend this b1 square as simply as possible. So maybe rook f1 is not so strange. Maybe you do take on b6, and here, I mean, if you calculate precisely, maybe you can just play a move like d6 and ignore whatever black's doing. But it's always difficult because there's moves like queen c4, attacking the rook, the bishop with the check. This is almost impossible to calculate, so you want to build in some security for yourself. But you just want to control b1 with your bishop, but it's now here. I don't know. Can we play bishop e6 check?
Maybe there's rook takes f8 actually as a threat. You can, after b3, you can just take.
Ah, very sharp.
And
nice.
it's forced.
Oops. Bishop. So
King
you go
g7,
here.
queen e7, or queen e5, that's also
Yeah.
checkmate.
Both win, and after rook here.
Then here you have to be a little bit precise. You have at least a draw. That is for sure.
True, very true. Can't deny that. So can we just go queen f4?
So black can't defend the rook on f7, which may mean that this b pawn is going to be really dangerous because we're not really able to stop it unless we spend some more moves on it.
Yeah, so rook f1 feels like a dangerous move. Once again, he's spending a lot of time here. I know you need to calculate, but this should be the moment to activate your rook and make your opponent think about the tough decisions. And we also see a victory on the first board.
Very nice fashion too. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
How did that game finish?
That already finished, and yeah, we saw Bormann in trouble with the strong black knight on d5. And let's just go back to where we left the game, around here. Yeah, black just improved pieces, and white is just stuck defending this d4 pawn, and he's just shuffling around, improving the position more and more. Yeah, there's nothing white can do. It's so frustrating. Black just infiltrates the white position. Well played. It looks very controlled. Beautiful finish. Bishop can't take because of checkmate on g2. And if you go king h2, which is your only other move, then rook g2 ensures that you, well, at least grab the bishop, and maybe there's some checkmating idea with rook a1. But it's a win either way for black. So that means China officially won this event. Unshared first place for China. And they will probably go on and win the match as well. But yeah, well done. I mean, they're the deserved winners.
Absolutely. They have been crushing it this tournament. They almost won all of their matches if it wasn't for their tie against underdog Armenia, who had a very good tournament as well. But yeah, China played super well this event. All of the 4 players with very high scores. Only 1 game was lost in the entire tournament so far. So very impressive result by the Chinese players, and congratulations to Team China for winning the tournament.
Yeah, well done. Nothing else I can say. Well, very well done. And do we have a result in the second match? What is going on there? Board 2 finished.
Oh, that's rather surprising. It seemed like anything could still happen there.
But what happened exactly? A draw?
Yeah. Draw was agreed.
Rook
Maybe
f1.
they saw rook takes f8 and thought there's no win to be seen there.
I don't know. Yeah, too difficult. But maybe they decided he had enough of the pressure, and black just, I mean, Erdogan was offered the draw because clearly he thinks he's not able to win anymore. And yeah, the opponent just took it. And also board 4 finished.
Mm-hmm. Also with a repetition.
Yeah, that's a draw.
With a draw. So this game was, they repeated the moves, which means that it's 2-1 for Turkey as of now. And on board 3, it seems like they are also in a position to not lose. Maybe win, but there's it's almost impossible to lose that position. So it seems like we will see Turkey win this match.
Yeah, with the smallest of margins. Oh, he might win though. He might win.
Probably by putting the rooks on the 7th rank and then pick up the pawn h7. It's going to be a long grind, maybe. Or maybe not that long. But
yeah, maybe not that long indeed.
with the knight on b2, it looks very dangerous. With the pawn supported on a5, you can push it to a4. But they're not going anywhere.
The knight is going to take ages to get back. Yeah, okay, so this looks like it's going to be a victory for Turkey. Kilic is probably going to beat Moldagali. And
with this victory, Turkey will secure 2nd place as they are the only ones with 13 match points. So
and in the meantime, Kazakhstan won their match.
Let's take a look. Yeah, we see 2.5 halves so far already, which means that Kazakhstan won their match, and that means that Armenia will not be in 3rd place anymore. We will have Austria, the only one left with 12 points, but since they're on board 1 and they're also about to lose, it may mean that Kazakhstan has a good chance, the first team to become 3rd place. There's still a few other teams in competition here. Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Greece also have 11 match points.
Yeah, these are the standings before the round. China winning, Turkey winning, and Armenia and Kazakhstan not getting No, Armenia, Kazakhstan, and Austria are not getting any points, right?
Yeah. None of the 12 pointers are gaining any board points or any match points.
Because, wait, Austria lost to China, is about to lose to China.
Armenia lost already to Kazakhstan 1.
Right,
And Kazakhstan 2 is losing against Turkey.
Right, yeah, okay. Right, so it's up for grabs. Azerbaijan, Georgia, Greece, Kazakhstan 1. Take your pick. That means we have to look at one of those games and...
And Azerbaijan and Greece are playing against each other, so that match is very important for the third place. And also Georgia is in the race to become third. And as you can see, the tiebreaks are pretty close, so anything can still happen.
Okay, let's see. Azerbaijan, Georgia. Currently we have board 1, which was a draw, we saw that. And there's also a draw on board number 4, this equal queen endgame. That means we only have 2 games left, which is this one between Makalakis and Ahmad, where material is balanced, but black seems to be in control with the dangerous passed a pawn. And the third board, we can see this position where black simply winning, right? This should be winning. It's tricky though. There's rook c6 you need to be careful of, and there's might be perpetual over here if you're not careful.
How does the king get out?
Maybe g4, but still.
h3 and then... Okay, the king doesn't really get far.
Yeah. And then still can't hide.
Yeah, and you might get checkmated if you're not careful.
So Asadaliev is trying everything to hang in there, and Kafardinas feels like should be winning somehow, but it's difficult in time trouble. King h2, queen d6 check. Yeah, just throw in g4. And now there's this perpetual threat. You have king.
There the king goes.
Now you can run, and he just took the b pawn as well, threatening queen e1 check. Yeah, okay, it had to be winning.
Also, Turkey has officially won their match. The third board won, which means that the score is 3-1, and they have secured second place. And now all eyes are on the teams that are racing for the third place. There are, I believe there were 3 teams still in the race, 4 teams actually, aiming for that third spot. So we will rely a lot on the tiebreaks, I think.
Yeah, and Greece seem to be doing a very good job here, because if they manage to win this match, then Azerbaijan has to win the match on board 2, which is a bit more difficult than winning this match as white. Sorry, winning this game as black. And that would be very surprising if Greece would become third, because what other teams are still in the race for third place?
So Georgia is actually playing the Netherlands, and I believe, Georgia is up on the score board. It's 2-1 for Georgia, with board 3 still in play.
He Chen-Han lost another game. He's suffering this tournament. Let's check third board where the Dutch are.
The Dutch are actually winning on board 3, which means that if this game ends in a tie, Georgia is out of the competition for the top 3 medals.
Wow, but that means Greece is having a they're in pole position and taking the bronze medal.
Yeah, that would be a huge surprise because they were ranked 23rd.
Unless Kazakhstan 1 is gonna...
I believe Kazakhstan 1 did not have the good tiebreaks.
They're lacking the tiebreak, of course.
Greece is way ahead, so this may be...
Which is strange, because Kazakhstan, they've been playing in the top almost the entire event.
I believe their scores were not very high. The wins were not very...
Marginal wins. Right. That might make a difference then.
Quite a few 2.5, 3-1s.
Right.
Those points are very costly, and that goes to show.
I mean, here black missing rook d3, just easily winning the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still winning, but you just want to clinch the victory at some point.
Yeah.
But okay, that will happen. So that means that the Netherlands and Georgia will play 2-2. Georgia had a very good event. They drew Turkey in the first round, and are also drawing the Netherlands, which I think is quite a good result because they're ranked 35th in this event, right?
Yeah, that is true.
And Greece ranked 23rd. If they get a bronze medal, that will be absolutely insane. A massive surprise there.
With a big help of board 1, with 7.5 out of 8, now 8 out of 9 as first board drew already. So, yeah, very big result for Greece.
And the match is finished, right, Greece? No, wait, here it is. Yeah, so this game was won. So only this game left, but White still needs to make a draw to clinch the victory in this match, and that is looking very, very difficult now.
Ooh, those pawns are very vulnerable. The pawn on h3 is about to fall, and pawns on g5 and h4.
Yep, no, they're
very strong.
They're running.
Let's pull up the board on the screen.
Ah, sorry, yeah, you're completely right. Pull up the board on the screen, indeed.
There you have it. This is the current position, and okay, this pawn on c6 is going places. So, knight e5.
Ah, but you got 94 check.
And you take the pawn g5, a3 is probably also going to fall. And actually, if you take on c6, with either of the pieces, you have to make sure that you don't lose material with the king around.
There's not a good way to take that. I'm just gonna try. Can we zoom in on this board? Is that possible in any way? Because it's the last round anyway, so we can just mess around with the... Sure. Because this is important for the bronze medal. Because it is this board, right, we're looking at. Yeah, I think it is.
You want more zoom?
Yeah.
More?
More zoom.
We want more.
Oh. Sorry for the viewers who get a bit sick from all the movements. But
yes.
It's very smooth.
So, Ahmad, he's looking quite young.
So, black sacrificed the knight. Are those pawns enough?
How did he... He did take on c6 just to get... Wow.
Both pieces were under attack. That was the issue.
Okay, but this is just a draw, right?
This should be a draw. You just take the pawn on h4 at some point and run with the king over to a3.
Yeah. Yeah, you just give checks and you go back again. And this is... You have to be careful
there. Wait, king g4, rook g2?
Yeah, and then you have knight f7, right?
Yeah.
But okay, there's always checks and you can also push the pawn, so it's not going to be checkmate. But there some funny ideas there. Knight d2.
Going for knight c4. But you still have to be careful. That pawn h4 is going places.
I don't like going after the a pawn.
At least you can continue giving checks. So king g3, you go back to e4 or f1 maybe even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I do like the idea of being flexible. Yeah, knight goes back.
King goes to g4, I think. Yeah, you just repeat doing this.
Doing this, yeah.
King d4? Stefanos Markalakis, the entire nation is praying for him to keep a draw in this endgame. That means Greece will most likely on tiebreak clinch the bronze medal, which will be very, very surprising.
Yeah, that's a huge result, especially given the circumstances that it was not very clear if any of the teams with 11 match points would have a chance to become third place.
Crazy, yeah. Knight f2 check, king g3. Knight e4 yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you found some sort of a patch. And Lou won her match and she makes it the perfect score.
9 out of 9. What a score. What a performance by Lou. This whole tournament, she's been fearless. She was in trouble, but still she kept going. Her perseverance is incredible. What a result, winning the gold medal on board 4.
And this game is finished.
Wait.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Black played rook f5, king takes and
Wait,
stalemate.
that's stalemate! That is probably one of the coolest stalemates I've seen.
That's a very nice one. What that means that most likely the tiebreak is looking good for Greece, and they may have just clinched the bronze medal. That's
Almost certain, yes.
absolutely insane. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, that is why it matters so much to win the last round, to finish on a high note and also high in the standings.
Crazy. Okay, so that means, I think, do we have any, let's check the board medals, because we have results now, of course, so, because I think, should I look at the standings? I think we can tell people what happened at home with the current results we have. So if we check the standings, we see that, so China won the match and the event.
Yes.
And gold on board 4, and maybe some other medals too. Well deserved. Turkey won their match, so they go to 15 points. Then Armenia, Kazakhstan and Austria all lost their match. Because I just keep forgetting. Who played who again?
Oh, let's take a look. Yes, so we had Austria against China. Austria lost to China, so they went down below in the standings. The Turkeys played Kazakhstan too, so Turkey won convincingly, and that means that Turkey finishes second. Then we have Kazakhstan 1, who played Armenia, and Kazakhstan won, so Armenia goes down in the standings, but Kazakhstan 1 does not have great tie-break scores. And then we have Azerbaijan against Greece, which was won by Greece. And since Greece is higher on the tiebreak, they will be most likely be ahead of Kazakhstan 1. And then finally, Georgia against the Netherlands was a tied match 2-2, which means that Georgia is also out of the competition for the medals.
Yeah, so that sounds about right. Wow, surprising finish there. Greece going from 8th position to 3rd position.
Yeah, incredible.
Once again, most likely we have to still wait for the final standings, but tiebreak is looking very good for Greece.
Very likely to be the case.
All right, then we have the board medals, and here we see that Samadov and Makridis, they drew their match, and also Milikov, she drew very quickly, so that means they will share 8 out of 9, they will share gold, or I don't know, there must be some sort of a tiebreak. And Hao Shui, he won, so he also gets 7 points, and Edith Gurel won, also getting 7 points, so I'm not sure he's getting the bronze medal, but we'll find that out soon, I suppose. Board 2, we saw
Tong drew.
A draw for
So
Tong.
that means that Arthur de Winter, since he won his game, he will have the golden medal on board 2, so we will also have a Dutch victory in the prizes. So congratulations to Arthur de Winter for winning the golden medal on board 2. Amazing performance, individual performance. Unfortunately, the team was not able to finish higher in the standings, but a great performance by Arthur. And then we have Erdogmus, who
drew his
match. So we'll have to see, because there are still players with 5.5 points who could catch up with Erdogmus. So that remains to be seen who will finish 3rd.
Palshchuk won his match, and so did Bakrilayev, so they will also get on 6.5 out of 9. So once again, bronze medal depends on the tiebreak there. And then we have board number 3, and there might even be more played with 5.5 out of 8, but the list might be long, so we'll see. And then board number 3, we saw
Kong and Fishuk won their game, so they are on 7.5 out of 9. Agasarov unfortunately lost, so he goes down in the standings. So it will be between Kong and Fishuk. They are tied 1st and 2nd, so we'd have to see which player wins the gold medal. And for 3rd place, it remains to be seen. Max Chen on 6 points out of 8, Mika Rondo also on 6. They could catch up with Agasarov, but we'd have to see.
They both won?
They both won, so that will be a huge tie for 3rd place.
Yes, so we have some ties there for the medals. And well, board 4, there's not going to be a tie. Lu won, And
Anna-Maja also won.
Yes. And that means the golden and silver medal are well deserved, and the bronze medal, because Kolyavko, she lost her match.
Kazarian also lost her game, so that means that Teravetisiana Agnesa Stepania, she won her game today, so she may have a chance to win third place. The list may be longer of 6 pointers on board 4, but this is looking very good for her.
Yes. So that's a little summary of the board medals. Do we still have ongoing games actually?
Yeah, let's take a look if we have ongoing games. We have one game actually.
One game.
We have Canada between Canada and Ukraine, Mok against Kowalski.
Right.
And this game is Queen versus Rook and 2 pawns, and I'm actually not sure. Is Black trying to play for a win here?
I'm not sure. I think we're going to try and find visual as well, but that's coming very soon. And this is supposed to be a draw, I think. Right? It just finished.
It just finished on move 100. They repeated moves, and it ended in a draw.
Which means that they had the honor of finishing this event.
Yeah. Wow. This has been a wild ride. The round is suddenly over. We are almost certain about the winners, but we'd have to double check regarding the tie breaks. We're not 100% sure yet. But yeah, Stefan, this has been a wild ride.
It has been insane, and I must say, there's been so much fighting spirit, amazing games, high quality chess. They're really playing strong, many surprises, very surprising results by some players and some teams. Fighting chess all along. We had the drama, we had the crazy end games, we had the time trouble. It was all there, and we could see it as if we were just standing right next to it. So just an amazing event. And I mean, just well done by the players. It's they really treated us with some good stuff and entertaining chess. So very excited and very beautiful tournament.
We can actually confirm now that Greece has finished 3rd place. We have the standings right in front of us, and the score difference on tiebreak is very small, only 3-point difference. But Greece finished 3rd place. So congratulations to the top 3 winners. There are also board medals, as you know, so we are very excited to announce the winners. Maybe we'll update them later on, but for now, these are the top 3: China, Turkey, and Greece.
Yeah, it's not entirely confirmed yet by the arbiter, but based on the results in the live boards, this will be the final standings. And assuming that these results are correct, but the arbiter will verify, this should be the final standing. So Greece, it is looking very good for them to clinch the bronze medal, which is once again a very unique performance. And board prizes, I'm not sure what the tiebreak is there, and I'm not sure if the list that we're looking at now is using any tiebreaks, but
you're not so sure.
Provisional results for the board medals is board 1, golden medal by Riyad Samadov from Azerbaijan. Silver medal would go to Dimitrios Makridis from Greece, and bronze medal goes to Wen Shui from China. But once again, this is not confirmed yet by the arbiter, but this is what we expect to happen based on the tiebreaks we have available here. Board 2, we saw the golden medal for Arthur de Winter from the Netherlands. Silver medal go to Xiao Tong from China. These are known because that's no tiebreak needed. And the bronze medal would still go to Matthias Palschert, even though no, he won his game today. He might have the better tiebreak than his opponents, not his opponents, but the other one. Competing for bronze, Erdogmus and Bakrilaev, but I think the list we have is tiebreak performance. I'm not sure if they will use that, but we'll see. And board number 3, we see Kong, who has 7 out of 9. Same as Fischuk, but Kong does have the better performance. And bronze medal would go to Chen Max from Canada. Once again, all provisional board medal standings here, and board 4, it's obvious. Chinese talent superstar Miaoyi Liu won all her games, and also Fruza Khamdamova, she has 8.5 out of 9. Very impressive performance, and it looks like Latvia is going to claim the bronze medal on board 4 with Agnieszka Stepania Teravetiana. Yep, thank you. She seems to have the better performance than, and we should mention her because from Malaysia, rated only 1367. There we go. Mokhtar Mitsi Nur Uzma Basila, she has 7 out of 9 as well.
Very impressive result by
well done.
By her, and it's too bad that Liu and Khamdamova did not play against each other.
Yes.
They just passed each other, but would have been really exciting to see that matchup.
Yes, it was. So, yeah, maybe they might face each other in some world championship. That would be quite cool. So that wraps things up for today. We have the final standings, of course, will be up on the website whenever they're verified by the arbiter. And with the closing ceremony, of course, the right players will get the right medals. And that will start at 4, but not very interesting for the people at home, of course. I think we're going to wrap things up here. Before we do so, I think a big thanks to the technical team here who placed all the cameras, made sure everything was working. We had extremely good visuals of whatever's happening. So thank you guys very much for that. And also I want to thank Bianca de Jongmuren, who was here the first 2 days commentating together with me. And of course I want to thank you for being here the rest of the tournament and to commentate on this lovely event.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you for hosting the broadcast as well. It's been a pleasure doing commentary together with you. And thank you to all the viewers at home watching from all the platforms on YouTube, on Twitch, wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. It was a pleasure and it's been a wild ride. This tournament is over and hopefully we'll have another international tournament back in the Netherlands.
That'll be great. But for today, this is it. We will end the FIDE World Youth Under-16 Chess Olympiad here in Eindhoven in the high-tech campus, and we will call it a day. We thank all the players for the lovely games, and we're gonna head to the prizing ceremony in a few hours and wrap up this beautiful event. So once again, thank you guys, and hopefully until another time.
See you!
Bye-bye.
Very important in terms of experience. They're getting, making friendships and also testing themselves. The Under-16 Olympiad is now recovering from COVID times. Almost 50 countries are here, many more teams, very competitive. And also seeing those kids after school championship in Kazakhstan as well is a very nice thing. Some of them will become professionals, some not, but the event will be in their memories for life. Well, I think it's critically important. We are like a family. Chess community is really big. There are only a few dozens of like top professionals, but hundreds of thousands people love playing chess, and this comes from the youths, from young ages when they play against each other, and they keep playing in clubs in different parts of the world. They're traveling, and this event is one of the starting points for many of them. So we should actually strengthen this tradition, have more tournaments like that, maybe in Rapid and Blitz format as well, besides this half classical chess. So we will try to do that. I think yes, they have good coaches. Actually, I can see some of the coaches coming from professional chess, so they're looking at the most talented kids to bring them to national teams afterwards, maybe in a few years. And this event is a real test for some of the talented kids, if they will show the strengths, that they can play well and keep themselves under control even despite the emotions, then they can become very good players. And I can see that people are watching some of those kids. So I really hope that we will see some of them in our future top events. First of all, our congratulations to one of the oldest federation, Dutch federation, and this Olympiad here is also because of this anniversary was a really important connection. So Dutch federation remains a very strong a strong part of our chess community. But there are top events still being organized here, especially by Kazarian, of course, in the beginning of the year. Before it was Tilburg, which is very close to this place. But also an important thing is to bring chess to university campuses and to connect with tech business. So this event, I think, is placed very well here in Eindhoven, near Philips, DAF and other companies. And maybe some kids who are playing here will become students or will work for these companies, who knows.
Hi, who's your favorite chess player?
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Magnus.
Я не помню. Magnus Carlsen?
Magnus Carlsen. Anna-Maja. Probably Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus.
And what about you?
Ik denk niet,
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen. Magnus.
I don't have a favorite chess player. I'm my favorite chess player.
Hi everyone, this is smartest square kilometer in Europe with all the smart companies around. And we do have a chess tournament running right now, Youth Olympiad. Right after the game, I'll ask them some chess questions and let's check how smart they are. Follow me. Who was the first official world champion?
William Steinitz.
In 1988, a computer won against Grandmaster for the first time.
Deep Blue.
Deep Blue! Deep Blue!
It is deep, but not blue.
What?
In it?
Then it's a deep ocean. Deep. That's something.
How many moves was the longest chess game in history?
270?
You are very close. Very, 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 like super.
269.
Yes. What is the name of chess played by post or email?
Correspondence game.
Correspondence.
This is the smartest. Sorry.